I just got back from Reno, Nevada, which is the US based headquarters for World Mobile, a telecom company that my company, Wise Lending, just recently partnered with to create a USDC vault that offers a fixed 20% APY. So in this video, we're going to be going over that Reno visit. I've got some pictures for you. I got a lot more in-depth information. I did a previous video on this about what World Mobile did with the aerial blimps in Mozambique, creating a cellular network with aerial blimps in Mozambique, and that's a great video as well. But today, I was actually visiting their Reno headquarters so I could see the actual network in Reno, Nevada on the ground. So welcome everybody. My name is Peter, aka the Wise Admiral. I'm the founder of Wise Lending, and today we're talking about my Reno visit to World Mobile because we just recently launched a World Mobile vault. This is in our real world assets RWA vault section. On Wise Lending, you can go to the little farming center right here, and you can see either on Ethereum, it's also launched on Arbitrum, a fixed 20% APY being offered on USDC. You can see I put a position in here. It hasn't even been 1 month. There's still 7 days left to be the full month. I've already made $63 on the $5,000 that I put in. I will be making about $82, $83 every single month, and that equals 20% APY per year. This is really good APY. It's better than anything else you can really find consistently, definitely not 20% fixed APY. That's going to be difficult to find anywhere else. And World Mobile is an excellent company. We're going to learn more about them today. So let's get right into the video. All right, so when I landed in Reno, Nevada, and I went to their headquarters, they're actually set up in a warehouse. And this goes back to actually the sharing economy, right? I was actually expecting to see some type of like office headquarters. You know, usually companies will have like a brick and mortar office location. But remember, they want to keep costs down because they actually give away as much revenue as they possibly can to the people who actually own the network. That's you and me and everybody else that has purchased the nodes that make up the World Mobile network. So it's a sharing economy, and so they have set up in this very inexpensive, warehouse site. It's actually an art warehouse. There's a lot of people that are making big art pieces all around the warehouse. It's a nonprofit warehouse too, and so it's kind of a cool vibe there. And this is where they're set up. You can see here. All the equipment, and there's actually used to be a lot more equipment here when they first started out, because actually most of their equipment is now live and deployed because they do have a full like a full-fledged network that's live and operational right now, and these are just some extra pieces. A little zoom in on that, and we can start to identify some of these pieces right here. Like these right here are the 180s. Like if we go back to the site, you can see there's the links. I don't actually have a picture of the link, but the portal 180s, that's what we just looked at. So that's these things right here. And they're called 180s because they are like an antenna that transmits a radio signal in a 180-degree radius. And so you can see those are $9,000. The Portal 360s is just two 180s back to back, so it covers the full circle. And so that's that piece of equipment. Let's actually look at some other piece of equipment. You got this kind of boxy looking one in the middle here. This is like the main part of the Titans, and then these would be the antennas for the Titans. So Titans can have like 2 to 4 antennas depending on how you want to set that up. If we go back to the website, you can see that the Titans are actually the biggest ones. They're the $100,000 systems. And so these are the pieces that make up either the Wi-Fi network or the cellular network that World Mobile is creating. They're actually creating both. So they have two different services. One is Wi-Fi, and the other is cellular internet. They have another tab here, and you can see they got Pakistan, so they got a big operation in Asia as well. They actually have 500,000 active users in Pakistan right now. And so these, you can see $62 each. These are different than what you're seeing here, which is the U.S. market, because they're using different equipment to accomplish what's needed. So, for instance, in Africa, we saw Mozambique. They're using those aerial blimps, right? Aerial blimps to create a network. Aerial blimps with radio transmitters on them, and then with like a Starlink node on it. Here in the U.S., they're not using aerial blimps because, this is Reno. It's in the middle of a city. We can't fly blimps in the middle of a city. We can only do that in rural areas. There can be blimps in some parts of the U.S., but like in the dense city areas, you can't just be flying blimps everywhere. So they got to use a different method to construct the same type of network. And so basically, they're using the same pieces that you would on a cell phone tower. However, it is much more efficient. So that goes to our first point right here: cell network efficiency. I learned a lot about cellular networks that I didn't know. And one of the things I learned is that the big cell phone companies like the T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, most of them don't actually own their own cell phone towers. It's different companies that build and control most of the cell phone towers, and then they're leased out to the big companies usually. So this is widely what's happening. And then in addition to that, when someone builds a cell phone tower, they're over engineering it by quite a bit because they just want to build one cell phone tower to cover the whole area. And you can see all these antennas on here, and this is way more than what's needed. It's a little simpler. However, it's not as efficient. And so there's the inefficiency of like over engineering and using too much equipment when all that equipment isn't actually needed. And then there's the second part about this. There's this middleman, the people that own the companies that own the cell phone towers that are leasing them to the big cellular network. So there's a lot of inefficiency there. And what World Mobile is doing is, if I can find the image right here, they're actually creating like an intentional, more of like a much more efficient solution, rather than having like a big cell phone tower. Like they could have just erected a big cell phone tower in the middle of Reno, and it would have been big, it would have been expensive. They could put all the equipment on that, and it would blast out all over the place. But the much cheaper way is actually to look at the city of Reno and see what is needed. So you see all these little pins on the map. These are their pieces of equipment. So the red ones are the Titan systems, and then the blue ones are the 180s. And you can see that here it's very densely populated. That's why they need more of these to get the correct concentration of coverage. And then when you go out into the rural areas, you can just have like one Titan that covers everything, and then one blue, 180, or a 360 here and there. You can see the blue dots that are together back to back. Those are the 360s because it's two 180s back to back, and then the single blue dots are just the simple 180s. So this is much cheaper than creating 3 cell phone towers, let's say, or more, because they are being super intentional and they're only using as much equipment as what's needed. Now let's back up for a second, because and talk about the actual status of the network. That was the first thing I want to know. Hey, is this network actually live? And yes, it is. They are actually using it. So they're using it with their own cell phones. You can see World Mobile Network right there. They showed me an app that showed that, hey, it's an extremely strong signal. And after we talked for a couple hours, actually, we went around and started touring a lot of these locations to actually see the actual equipment in use. So before I show you those pictures, let me explain. Remember, I said there's 2 types of networks that they're creating. They're creating a Wi-Fi network and a cellular network. So right now, their Wi-Fi network is live, and they actually have 2 different types of Wi-Fi network. They have the Wi-Fi network that is actually created using the cell phone signal, and that is that's these guys right here. So these guys they call them flower pots. They're very inexpensive pieces of equipment. They actually use a chip, a SIM card that's inserted in here. So it's on the same frequency as a cell phone signal. But these are super cheap. You can get the Wi-Fi, and it's not super. It's not a huge bandwidth of Wi-Fi, but it'll meet most everybody's needs. And it's like $29.99 a month. And where they've been able to get customers for these is there's parts of Reno that Spectrum will just not bring fiber optic cable to that building because it's too poor. It's like cheaper housing, and so those people living in the building just have no option for internet. And so this is a solution for them because it's super cheap, and it's in many cases like the only option if you want to have like a Wi-Fi internet in your building. And so, these big companies, they're only going to do what's profitable for them. Sometimes it's not worth it for them to be able to go to places where they need cheaper internets. And so that's one way where World Mobile is like finding a niche, is going to those people that need internet, even in the US, that don't have Wi-Fi, being able to provide a solution. Now that's 1/2 of their Wi-Fi network, and they only have a few dozen users, like 35 users for these flower pots. It's like one whole entire building that's this is their only option for internet if they want Wi-Fi. You go back to the World Mobile Net site, you can see the link equipment's $749 a pop. This is what's broadcasting the stronger Wi-Fi that can give you lots more bandwidth, high speed Wi-Fi, and they have about 1,000 customers here in Reno that are on like the full high speed Wi-Fi. You could do gaming on this, you could do live streaming, whatever you need to do. And so that's their Wi-Fi system, and then their cell phone system, while they're using it all personally on their own personal phones, it's not live to the public yet, but it will be very, very soon. We're talking maybe weeks to a month before they go live there, because like I showed you, all the equipment, it's already deployed to it's strong. And what they've been doing is just testing it, looking for those holes like Swiss cheese, where the signal's strong, where it's not. And then, when they find a spot where it's lower, then they would add one of these blue 180s or 360s. That's what they've been doing, for the past several months. And so it's ready now. It's ready to go to the public. Now let's go back to our sheets here and talk about this, because the other thing was why would I use World Mobile? Like, what is World Mobile for? Is it like the cheapest network? Is it going to be like another Mint Mobile without Ryan Reynolds? What's it all about? Now this is not the case, actually, because the World Mobile, they're not trying to go for cheapest. Now they will be cheaper. Like, they're definitely not going to be the most expensive. They are going to be on the cheaper side of things, but they're not going for the absolute cheapest. That's not like the main reason why you would want to use World Mobile. So the first reason is actually 4-in-1 coverage. Because if you guys don't know how the big three work, T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, they don't share coverage. They only share roaming with what's required by law, which is like SOS 911 calls. So if you are, roaming and you go into an area that has, strong T-Mobile but has weak Verizon, and you have Verizon, you're not going to have very good signal because you're going to be roaming and you could basically only make 911 calls. Whereas if you had a T-Mobile, you would be just fine. But there's spots like this all over the US. And what World Mobile has done is actually partnered with them. So when you're roaming, you can have strong coverage no matter what network you are roaming with. So it's 4-in-1, meaning Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and the fourth being World Mobile itself. And so the idea is, these guys want to grow. They want to spread all across the US and all across the world, so that as their coverage grows, you will mostly be using the T-Mobile network that they've put up. Because the way it works is it uses T-Mobile it uses World Mobile by default, and then but it can roam onto any of the other big three networks. So you're never going to not have coverage. It's just that in the beginning, when there's not a lot of coverage for World Mobile across the US, it could be using the big three a lot, and then as World Mobile's coverage grows, then it'll be pretty much just using World Mobile. Another big one, and this could actually be the biggest seller with people, is privacy and security, because the World Mobile network that they created, it's completely private. So it's independent. They're not like leasing from other big companies. The World Mobile network that they set up, it's perfectly private, and they aren't selling data to people. So when big telecom companies, the big three, they sell your data. And so what does that include? That includes what credit card you're using, where the GPS location of your phone, where it is, how much it moves around, what calls you make, the context of the calls you make, the voice recordings of the calls that you make. All that information is being sold to other companies so that they can advertise to you better and get your information, so that they could sell you products. Not with World Mobile. With World Mobile, it's actually a private network, and they are refusing to sell to anybody. And they built their own blockchain. It's a layer 1, or excuse me, a layer 2 roll up on Ethereum, and they're going to store all the information there so that the people who are running World Mobile, we can actually have control of our own data, and we can choose if we want to sell or not. And we can also store it better as well. Because if you call your cell phone company and you want to get your records, whatever information it is, call records, whatever, good luck getting it if it's like, years ago. And then, good luck with the process too. It's not always easy. It's not simple. And oftentimes they don't keep information for a long time, because it costs money to actually store your information. And so they're not gonna keep it forever. And it's also a mess to be able to dig it back up a lot of the times. Well, with World Mobile, since it's private and since they're storing it on the blockchain, it'll be super efficient and super easy. All your information is going to be right there, accessible. There's going to be no middleman in between you and being able to access your information. So it'll be secure and private, and you have the option of, do you want to sell it? Now these guys get approached all the time. People approach World Mobile wanting to buy the information that they're already collecting. This is worth money. It's worth money to big companies. But they said, no, that's going to be up to the users once they have those features in place. Another thing with them is customer support. So they are actually a company that wants to help people. Like, they want to provide customer support. They want to find out, if anything is wrong. They want to find out how to improve. Most of these big companies, their goal is actually to not give you customer support. They try to make you figure it out on your own, or it's really hard to talk to a person, and the whole calling them is designed to push you away, not actually give you support. These guys have the opposite approach. They want to provide you customer support, and they're actually building AI tools that will help with when they start scaling even more, to actually get you the answers that you need instead of trying to actually push you away. So they have really good customer support, and then of course earning potential as well. That's basically what we're doing. So we're not using World Mobile. We can use World Mobile. It's going to be an option to use. I'm definitely going to use it, but the earning potential is like what we're doing with this 20% APY vault, and so very cool. So there's going to be other earnings things that they can do too, but this is just something that's not offered by regular cell phone companies. And I asked them specifically, okay, what are the costs? So like I told you before, the cheap Wi-Fi, $29.99 a month. The more expensive Wi-Fi, it starts at, I think, $49, and depending on how strong you want it, it can go up from there. And then their cell phone plans are going to start at $65 a month, they told me. So that might be somewhat flexible, and that will go down as they start growing as well. So it's not like the cheapest. Like me personally, I'm doing T-Mobile right now, and I've got like a military plan, so I get it for a little bit cheaper than that. But to me, it's worth it for the privacy, for the security, and for understanding, being part of this thing that I'm making money from anyway. So this is definitely something that I'm going to do for me and my family when it comes out. But it's not live yet, so we'll just have to see. So anyway, let's go to the actual pictures of me when they took me all around and like showed me some of the actual equipment that is live. This picture right here is just explaining how like the 180s, you could just plug them into a regular outlet that has this thing that because they actually don't require a lot of power. So you can see it's coming from a regular outlet. Then they've got this converter that converts it into this small little cable that goes to the 180. So that it's not really power hungry at all. And you know, you just need a little bit of power. You have to actually tune down the power that's coming from your regular outlet to make this work. So showed you the flower pot already. And we got just two more pictures here. So this is on top of like a 15-story apartment building. So we went to the top, this is the roof here. And this apartment building actually had two Titans on it. You can see like this Titan in the middle. This has two antennas for the Titans. And also if we look at here, you can see there's also a 180 as well. So two different types of networks. Now the Titan is more of a beefy, it's a much stronger signal. The frequency that they're using, you actually have to register with the FCC every time you set one of these up. So it's a lot more serious and it goes a lot farther. We're talking like 20 miles in every direction there. The 180s, you don't have to register. You can set them up without having to report anything. It goes to about a 1 to 2 miles in a 180 degree angle. And so you can see this system right here is a Titan plus a 180. It's going to cover both the Wi-Fi for the immediate area and then the cell for a long ways away. And so this rooftop had two of these systems on them. And so after we looked at that rooftop, you can see that there's a 180 on top of here. This is just a little sports bar. And so you can, if we go back to our map, you can see that basically, you know, we just toured around the city and looked at, you know, 5 or 6 of these pieces of equipment that were up. The red Titans were put on the larger buildings, and then the blue ones were either paired with the Titan systems on top of the big buildings, or they were just on, you know, smaller buildings. And, you know, there's a full-fledged network there in Reno. Going back to the website, so that kind of really explains what they're doing in America. So they want to be they're in Seattle, they're in California, they want to be in LA. They're very soon they're going to be in Florida, they're going to be in New Orleans, and they want to spread all across the USA, because what they're doing is definitely something that is needed by a lot of people. And also just the fact that it's, you know, private and secure, and the fact that you can earn from the system is really amazing. You know, they've got people contacting them. I think the New Orleans situation was, there was already a private cellular network that was, you know, not doing too well or mismanaged or something. Well, they reached out to World Mobile and was like, hey, why don't you guys take over this equipment and run it for World Mobile. So they've got those type of situations. I think the situation in Seattle, Washington was like, they knew about World Mobile, and they were like, hey, we'll provide our own backhaul. We just want to buy the equipment and completely set it up. And I think they did it completely on their own like that. Like, I don't think there's even like a World Mobile headquarters or station in Seattle. It's like independent guys who got World Mobile to help them out so that they can create the network there. So that's another thing I learned here too, because I wasn't sure, like, they say we own the equipment, but I was like, is that really, like, could I go there and you know, grab up that equipment because it's mine and because I own it? And the answer is yes. And then my other question was, okay, I own the equipment. What else is required to actually make the system work? Like, what if World Mobile were for some reason out of the picture? Would we be able to continue providing cellular and Wi-Fi networks to people and be able to continue on? And the answer is yes, because the only thing that is needed in addition to this equipment is what's called the backhaul, which is, you know, the main source of where the signal is coming from. So that's either going to be a Starlink node. Around Reno here, it was fiber optic cable, and you know, it could be a bunch of things, you know, between the fiber optic, between Starlink, satellite node. It could be any of those things. There's many different solutions. And basically this equipment, this World Mobile equipment just needs to be combined with that backhaul, and then you're good to go. The only other piece you would need is like the software that you would run that does all the informational stuff, like setting up people's individual, like the customer accounts, keeping track of when they use the internet, when they're making calls, all that stuff that needs to be done to kind of track the what customers are using, and if they should be allowed to use it, if not, all that software stuff. So that's not that hard to replace. And so if World Mobile were completely out of the picture for whatever reason, then the equipment is still extremely valuable, and we just have to figure out a backhaul situation first. Now let's talk about Asia for a second, because Asia is their biggest market. They do have 500,000 plus active users, like I said, and our money that when we fill up this $5 million vault, it's all going here into Asia. They're buying Spark nodes. And so what Spark nodes are is there's already a fiber optic system there. And these Spark nodes are tapping in to the fiber optic system. And these are like individual Wi-Fi centers. They're like routers for like internet routers for people's house, basically. And so the big fiber optic company reached out to World Mobile. They're like, hey, can you work with us? They said, yes, we'll work with you. So they provided these Spark nodes. And so now they got over 500,000 customers. So our money is directly going there. Like we just had the first purchase. You can see we filled up $46,000 worth. So our first purchase is 920 of these Spark nodes. And so so we're going to own 920 of these Spark nodes. Pretty soon we're going to be owning tens of thousands of them once we fill up that vault, which we will very soon. And these are all making $1 or more per node. And so we're not getting them for $62.99. We're getting a discount on them because we have a partnership. So we're getting them for like, $50 or under. And so we are earning like $1 a month per one of these nodes. So those 920 nodes, we're going to have at least $920 coming in every single month. And that is from all these customers that are paying for internet. So you can see the business model is it's very good. It's very understandable how a little router would cost about $50 and could have, a bunch of people on it that are paying, $1 to $2 a month per household. And so that's making good money. That's why we're able to provide this 20% fixed APY, because we know that the model is sound and that the money's coming in. And if it ever did stop coming in, well, that's not really a feasible scenario, because even if World Mobile decided they want to screw us all and stop their operations and just walk away, I mean, we still own the equipment. All we'd have to do is make sure that we had our own backhaul, which is something that there's many options for, and that we could find a solution to in many different ways. And if eventually, when we're buying nodes in the U.S., once these little Spark nodes in Asia get filled up, they're also expanding across the U.S. as well. So we'll eventually be owning Portals and Portal 360s and Titans as well. We actually own that equipment, and so we we could go there and go grab it. Like, for instance, this Titan, this $100,000 Titan, and this $9,000 180 is not owned by World Mobile. There's somebody that has purchased that has allowed them to set that up. That person who owns it, that's the remote operator. They could come and take that Titan if they wanted to. Of course, that'd be a silly thing to do because it's earning money right now. And if they go yank it, then it's not going to be earning them money anymore. But they own it in every sense of the word. So anyways, guys, bottom line is I have come back, from my trip. I was pretty confident already because I already did a lot of due diligence, but mostly what I saw were videos. And when I see, I've already seen a lot of videos of this equipment too, and it's like, I'm pretty sure these guys aren't faking videos of this equipment, but of course, it's always good to double check and make sure you do your own due diligence. So that's exactly what I did. I went to Reno. I saw this with my own two eyes. I talked to these guys. I got to use their network, their World Mobile Network. They provided and eSIMs. They can either give you an eSIM or an actual physical SIM card, and you can start using their network. They're going to be live very soon. They're already live with their Wi-Fi. And honestly, I just want to fill up this vault as soon as possible, and then I want to ask them for more allocation because this is recession-proof, really good, earning potential here, and something that's not going to go away. It's something that's going to be here for 10, 20, 30 years, maybe even 100 years. Just so you guys know, there's already an insurance plan built into this cost. So the cost for, the Spark nodes and the Link nodes and the Titans, everything, this includes setup cost and it includes insurance as well. So if that equipment ever breaks, if it breaks down 15 years or whatever, it's already insured, so it's going to be replaced. So there's not a whole lot that can go wrong here. And having this type of infrastructure on the ground is something that everyone needs more of. There's actually a growing demand for this. And as we go on, as technology matures and as more people, become developed, developing countries and such, they need more of this, not less of this. So this is something that is a really good industry to be in, because it's not like something that is risky or that can have down times. No, everybody needs internet, everybody needs cell phone. That's not going to change for a long time, and this infrastructure is going to be super valuable, and it's going to continue pumping out lots of money, lots of value, while at the same time still being able to deliver people really, really good services for cheap as well. So hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.